Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks, and somebody was asking for some help to do a map of Savannah, Georgia. I took a map from Savannah, Georgia, nothing special about it. I know very little about the area, and I don't know if this is even a good map, but it's a pretty pixelated map. He was asking where you could find vector maps, and I wish there was more of subject, but I'm going to go through this bitmap resample. We'll go to 300 odd French bitmap, convert to bitmap, grayscale. Give it just a second. Go to trace bitmap. Yours will be under trace, outline trace, clip art. I use clip art most of the time. Reduce the size of the bitmap. Say OK. Now, normally I would have made a copy of it before I started, but in this case I didn't. Doesn't really matter. So I make a copy of it now, Control D, and make a copy and move it over. I've got my nudge. So really this is the original. This is, let's see if we can even see any difference. Yeah, these are your two traced ones on the other side. So I did make a copy of it. Don't need this one. And if you kind of go with it like this, and once you're clicked on an item, if you hold down the shift key and select on the rectangle tool, it'll put a box around your item, because we're going to need a box around this, because you can't just let the Atlantic Ocean keep going. Then we're gonna move the box out of the way for a second. We're going to click on it, and we're going to go to Arrange, Order, Ungroup Object. Now I'm also going to move this out of the way. I'm going to take our body of water and move it out of the way. Both bodies of water, because it didn't kind of work, because there's some text in the way. This is probably the hardest part, but if you will left click, right click in red, doesn't really matter, doesn't have to be red. And we need to get rid of some of this stuff, so we'll take the shape tool and we'll get rid of all that garbage of letters. And really that's kind of why you need the picture, because Tybee Island is in there. This one's going to be a little bit more difficult. It's kind of even hard to see with the shape tool. You just kind of start getting rid of these nodes. This is really the part of the kind of making a map I enjoy, just being a little creative. And if you kind of go too far, you can always back up. And there is pretty much what I would leave it at, is the ocean. Getting rid of the names. Well, most maps I make don't have a name. While I'm here, I'm just going to get rid of some of these nodes, because they're going to cause a problem. And then just kind of back up, and so this is part of the Savannah Yacht Club. These are the names. So just try not to disturb the coast too much. And then all this really needs to get rid of. This might go too far, and it did. So let's get rid of that. And not really knowing the area, this is kind of hard to do. but let's call that pretty good. Now we have some more text, and we also have the state line in the kind of embedded in the water, so we're going to need to get rid of that. But same thing on the text tool or shape tool. Just kind of get rid of some of this stuff. And you can get really lucky sometimes and do exactly what you need to do. And then sometimes you don't, like that. But you can always take your node handle, bring it in. I'm going to take away the sharpness of that area. I'm going to just take away that end and see what happens. And then take away this inner part. Maybe take away that. When you're cutting out a map, especially a lake, you can't really have sharp points. So let's go ahead and take away the state line now. And this is kind of easily done, taking the 2-point line, drawing up. I don't know why it's doing that. I think it's, let's see if I got snap to object. Let's turn snap to object off. My line is snapping to my object. And in this case, I don't want it to. No, it's still doing it. But it doesn't matter. Take your virtual segment delete key and delete all this. Whoop, went too far. Then you can take your line away and take your shape tool and just kind of join these two nodes. Now, I'm really kind of through with the map, and there's probably, you know, this is where if you're from the area you would know, is there a bridge across this water? But so that we're going to call it a bridge. So we're going to join these two bodies of water by taking the shape tool and just putting them together. And like I said earlier, if you knew the body of water, it would help. And I'm not taking a lot of time to do this. But then you can just take your virtual segment delete key and delete all these extra lines. Then the first thing I would do would be to smart fill it to see if you have any leaks. Take the smart fill tool and fill that in. Don't have any leaks. Let's turn it blue and let's nudge it out of the way. We can deal with it later. And then let's left click, right click and red. So we're done with that part of the map. Now if you remember, this is our real map and here is our box. And the reason I put a box around it was to get this square edge. Because if you're making a map and you're going to have a frame, and see I haven't moved anything so I can nudge it right back. If you're making this with a frame, you've got to have something for the frame to go underneath. So you, at one point, we're going to have to increase this, the width of this. Now what I'm also going to do, I'm going to take this and I'm going to lock this. I'm going to grab it all. I'm going to go to range. I'm going to go lock. And I'm going to lock it so I cannot touch it. And then I'm just going to start drawing. I'm actually going to put the box around it. And to me, it's easy. Let's draw that city circle that they're using. Make it black. Take away the hairline so we will not cut it. And put it over Savannah. And you know what? Since the roads are in red, let's make everything in, or the roads are in black, let's make everything in red so you can read it. Take your freehand tool and draw this line of this highway. Highway 16. Don't worry about if it's perfect. And then double click on your tool and go, let's go 10 points. But you definitely need to scale with object. That's pretty much the good right size. Now when you're doing this, you do want to run off the map. You don't want to fall short. Take your shape tool and you can manipulate your road. And please be thinking about Nobody's going to drive your map. You know, it's for looks. Don't worry about it being 100% perfect. And if doing it in red, you can kind of see it over the black. We do not want that. Actually, we'll delete that node and bring this off the page quite a bit. So when it does engrave, it runs off your frame because you don't want it to be, and it doesn't have to go all the way across. And let's see what my nudge factor is set at 0.002, let's say. Grab your shake tool and you can actually nudge that point down, something that you can't really move. And there's one road. Then since you know that road is 10 points, I would do the next 10-point road. You know, just take your freehand tool and see how good your hand and your mouse action are. Mine is pretty good sometimes. And we need to make it 10 points. But I'm going to stress again, scale with object, because this map is going to be bigger or smaller than original. Once you have all this done, and I'm not going to do the map for the gentleman. Once you have the map done on this part, we need to bring that out. And you could critique it for a long time. You know, you could, you know, like right here, we didn't maybe start perfectly. And because my map is locked, I can't grab the actual map. So I'm going to pause the video here. Well, I'm going to actually stop the video. And I'm going to show you how to continue. So they just won't be so long in case somebody's not interested. Anyway, I hope that helped a little bit. Thank you for watching.